Hi, this is Gabe from FluentForever.com. In this second video, Tim and I are going to cover all of Cantonese's consonants. So let's just jump right in. This video is mostly about good news. If you're familiar with the consonants of English, you're going to have an easy time with the consonants of Cantonese. The language has 19 consonants, and 13 of those are basically the same as English consonants, and the 6 remaining ones are just slight modifications of consonants you already know. So we'll start with the super easy ones.
There's n, as in Cantonese's now, or English's now. There's m, as in Cantonese's ma, or English's me.
Just to note here, m can also be used as its own syllable without any other vowel.
As in hai. There's f, as in Cantonese's fa, or English's fawn. There's h, as in ha, or English's house. And s, as in sing, or English's sit. And w, as in Cantonese's wa, or English's water.
Now, there are 2 more consonants that sound the same in English and Cantonese, but they're going to have new IPA symbols.
There's ng, as in Cantonese's chang, nga, and English's pong.
This is like an N with your tongue up in the back rather than in the front. This one, like the M consonant, can be used without a vowel.
Giving you words like gong.
The symbol in IPA is an N with a little hook hanging off the right, like it borrowed the right half of a G or something. In Yuping, it's just NG.
Then there's y, as in Cantonese's ying, and English's young.
In both IPA and Yuping, it's shown as the letter J. Now we'll start getting into some slightly new sounds.
First off, Cantonese's l, as in lo su, or lai.
It's a familiar symbol in IPA, a lowercase l, but it sounds a bit different from English. In English, when we say a word like lie, the back and front of your tongue both come up towards the roof of your mouth. Lie, lie. But in Cantonese, only the tip of your tongue comes up, and it reaches just behind your front upper teeth.
Lie. English has lie. Cantonese, lie.
Now, for the rest of our consonants, we'll need to take a little detour through English. In English, when you say the letters P, T, and K, you make a big puff of air after the beginning of those consonants and before the next sound in a word. You can feel that puff if you put your hand in front of your mouth and say tie, park, and core. That puff of air shows up in IPA as a little superscript H, like this. If you were, for instance, Italian, you wouldn't make that puff of air at all. You'd say tai, park, and cor, and you wouldn't feel much air on your hand. Now, English uses this puff of air, technically known as aspiration, in all situations except one, when those 3 consonants come after the letter S. So in the words sty, spark, and score, there's no puff. These are unaspirated consonants. And while it's extremely rare in English that we need to tell the difference between unaspirated consonants and aspirated consonants, it does show up occasionally, and we can actually hear it naturally without needing to do any sort of specialized ear training. It's how we tell the difference between, say, Scarlet's tie and Scarlet's sty. And to throw one more sound into the mix, it's also how we tell the difference between Scarlet's sty and Scarlet's die. For P, we can differentiate Spot's park, Spot's spark, and Spot's bark. And for K, we can differentiate Sports core, Sports score, and Sports gore. I'm harping on this in such detail because all of our last 10 consonants for Cantonese feature aspiration or the lack of it as one of their main features.
First, there's p, as in po, and there's b, as in bow.
The first one, spelled with a P, this one's basically identical to English's P. It has aspiration and everything. But be careful with the second one. Even though it's spelled with a B in Yuping, and even though it sounds a lot like English's consonant B, it is not actually a B. There is nothing buzzing in your throat. B. That's not happening.
And you can learn to hear that by comparing words like ping, bing. In English with bing, we can add intonation to the English words to better match the Cantonese tone. Ping, bing, bing. Next we have t, as in tai, and there's d, as in day.
If you need a pair of words to compare here,
try English's team and team and Cantonese's team. Matching intonation again, that's team, team, team. Next we have k as in kai and g as in gai. For comparison purposes, English has ku and gu, and Cantonese has gu, ku, gu, gu. Next, there's qu as in quai and gu as in guai.
this is basically a combination of a K and a W. English uses the aspirated version of this in words like queen. Comparing English and Cantonese is a little tricky here since these sounds are so uncommon in English, but we can create some slightly weird comparisons by stringing together some unrelated words.
Here's English's quick versus Cantonese's quick, quick, quick. And here's English's meg wing versus me, gwing, meg wing, me, gwing. Our last consonants in Cantonese are ts as in qin and z as in jin.
This sound is a combination of a T and an S.
And Yupeng indicates that sound with a C for the aspirated version, qin, and a Z for the unaspirated version, jin.
This combination of sounds shows up in English with a puff of air naturally at the ends of words. Cats, mitts, pots. It shows up only very rarely in other places. You'll only see it in loan words like pizza and tsunami. It's a little tricky to find a good way to compare the English and Cantonese sounds, but you can try these.
For CZ, CZ, and CZ, matching intonation, that's CZ, CZ, CZ.
And I'll throw in a quick note about these two consonants that I haven't seen discussed anywhere else. When these consonants show up before back rounded vowels, like U, and O, then some speakers will pull their tongues back a bit. And those two consonants, at least to my ear, will start sounding more like aspirated and unaspirated versions of ch rather than ts. Just something to keep your ear out for. And with that, we have one last topic to discuss. Unreleased Kt and P. We touched on this near the end of the last video, but we'll go a bit more in depth here. So let's talk about the English word eat. At the end of that word, much of the time you're going to put a fully aspirated T sound after it. Eat, t, eat. But sometimes you're not going to do that. You'll start that T, putting your tongue up behind your upper teeth and everything, but you won't blow any air through it. Pop your tongue open and make that whole T sound. You'll just say eat, freezing your tongue in that T position at the end of the word. This is an unreleased T. The released one sounds like eat, and the unreleased one sounds like eat. Cantonese's final T's, K's, and P's are always unreleased.
So there's unreleased T as in hot or sweet yan. Unreleased K as in ok or yer. And unreleased P as in deep or up.
And with that, we've finished all of the consonants of Cantonese. To review, we started with 6 consonants that were the same between Cantonese and English.
There's N as in Cantonese's nao zong. M as in Cantonese's ma ma. F as in Cantonese's fa. H as in ha. S as in sing sing. And W as in Cantonese's wa.
There were 2 more consonants that sounded the same in English and in Cantonese, but had new IPA symbols.
There was ng as in Cantonese's cang, nga, and gong.
It's like an N with your tongue up and back, rather than up in the front.
And then we have y as in Cantonese's ying.
Then we started covering some sounds that were slightly modified versions of sounds you already know.
There was Cantonese's l as in lo su and lai,
where your tongue only comes up in the front of your mouth. And then 10 last consonants, 5 of which were aspirated and basically the same as their English counterparts, and 5 unaspirated and new.
As in po, b as in bo, then t t as in tai and d as in dai, k as in kai and g as in gai, qu as in quai and gu as in guai. And the last of those pairs was ts as in qin and z as in jin.
Finally, we covered Cantonese's final unreleased T's, K's, and P's.
We had unreleased T as in hot, unreleased K as in ok, and unreleased P as in deep.
With that, we've covered all of Cantonese's consonants. Next up, the vowels.